I started Best of Us Investors back in November of 2019. And as we moved into 2020 and the pandemic occurred, the channel took off, basically because people were restricted to their home. They got some free money checks in the mail. And they didn't know what to do with the money, so they came and started investing and looking for advice on YouTube. I would say back then my channel was basically an entertainment channel in that I guess I educated at some level because I am a retired financial advisor, and I set out to share my knowledge and to do some research and then regurgitate that research to the listeners. And I modeled after, the people who have been successful at it. And then as the pandemic went away, so did the revenue. The revenue dropped by 90%. So I had to pivot. And what I realized was Seth Godin had always said, if you've got 1,000 loyal fans, you can make a living. And so I made a pivot and switched from a advertising-supported model to a subscription-supported model. And then we built a website about a year ago, and we've advanced that way. Well, I've always modeled whatever I did against my idols, the people that I recognize as good, sound business people who built something from nothing. And the first on that list would be Bill Gates and Steve Allen, two guys who recognized the potential of compute and had the belief that they could build an operating system that would allow every home to have a computer. So they built this operating system, and they went to IBM and said, here, we need some help taking this to the next step. And IBM laughed at them and said, no, computers take up whole floors in large buildings. There'll never be computers in people's homes. So they threw them out. Bill went and found some help elsewhere. What he basically needed is he had the idea, he had the product, but he needed the financial help, the guidance, the knowledge of how do you take such an idea and monetize it and push it forward, and the guidance, and then the contacts, the people who could take him to the next level, who understood business, who understood how to raise money, who understood how to finance a growth business and could put the capital forward to do it. The same was true for the two Steves down in Texas, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. They needed help. They had the core. Steve Jobs became a little irritatable, and he actually got fired by the help at least 2 times, but always came back. And then Jeff Bezos did the same thing. He worked out of a garage with he and his wife in Seattle selling books, and then they became selling everything. And then they just stumbled into Amazon Web Services, but they had help and guidance to make that transition. Larry Page, Sergey Brin, the same thing. They basically replaced the library, but they didn't know how to monetize it, so they brought in help, and people said, you need to become an advertising vehicle. They then bought YouTube, and now they send me a smaller check every month. So what I'm saying is my goal that has evolved over the last 5 years, as I've built a loyal audience, as I've seen what that audience wants, what my audience wants is the knowledge and the advice from a hedge fund manager, but they don't want really the hedge fund method. They want financial advice that gives them an advantage. My people read about people who invest and make outstanding sums of money. Peter Thiel took $2,000, put it in a Roth IRA, invested in emerging companies, startups, and turned it into $5 billion. So that's what they want. Well, that basically takes a ton of people. Goldman Sachs has 46,300 people. J.P. Morgan has 200,000 people. It's a major organization. Well, that changed about oh, 16 months ago. And that was with the introduction of ChatGPT and the awareness of the public of what artificial intelligence could do. And I don't really think that the majority of the world understands what it can do. Basically, what I think the easiest way to think of it is over the last 40 years, the data that has been collected is a accumulation depository of all the knowledge in the world. Okay, so if you have a subject that you want to excel in, you can access it through artificial intelligence. Now then, what has to happen and what is happening is you have to have the compute power to basically come in and sort through that knowledge and then present it to the individual who is asking for it. Well, that's exactly what the compute power has come from NVIDIA, upgrading from CPUs to GPUs, and then the software comes in and is stacked on top of it, and that then accesses the data that is in the silos of data from Google, Amazon, Apple, Meta, and all the large language platforms. Now what is going to happen is, rather than like on Google, you ask a question, it gives you an answer. Through these large language platforms, you're going to be able to interchange. So what I'm seeing and what my dream is I will buy what Michael Dell calls an AI factory with Jensen Huang's GPU's computer or chips in it, and then with Bill McDermott's software on it, and then it will give me the ability to ask a question as simple as, Samantha, that's what I'm going to call my AI factory, find me the stock that is going to cure the problem that Jensen Huang has with all the heat that his Blackwell B200, The Verge, is creating in that AI factory. Tell me the company that's going to cure that problem for Jensen and all the semiconductors in the world. And Samantha will go read all the information that's available from the past and up until yesterday, and then accumulate that and come back and give it to me. And I will go on a walk in the park with earbuds, and then Samantha and I will carry on a conversation, because she will then be smarter than me, and she's going to have to make me understand what she's saying. Now, over time, Samantha will come to know my limitations, and she will work to help me overcome those limitations so that I can make better investment decisions and then pass them on to my tribe. So that's my vision, okay? I'm exactly where Mark Zuckerberg was when he was sitting with his buddies in his Harvard dorm room and saying, I think we can take this national. I think this is something that we can leverage into something bigger. I'm exactly where Sergey Brin and Larry Page were when they said, hey, we've got this search engine. Now what are we going to do with it? How do we monetize it? I'm exactly there. Okay, so what do I do? Well, about a month ago, I was on LinkedIn, and I saw an ad from Goldman Sachs that was under the heading of 10,000 small businesses. And in this ad, it said, we are looking for some small businesses in West Virginia and Alabama that we can assist in their efforts to grow, to take the next step. Okay? So I went and looked, and I filled out about a 10-page application. I shared with them the financial information, the corporate information. Again, it was very extensive. And then I didn't hear from them. Well, yesterday, I got a call from Kimberly. Kimberly is a part of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 small business team. And she said, you've made the first cut. Yeah. Goldman Sachs called me and said, you made the first cut, but we need some additional information, some additional financial. We need a profit loss statement for 22, 23, and year to date. We need a statement that shows the formation of your corporation and your articles of incorporation. So that's what I was doing this morning, because she said, you got to have it to us by 7 a.m. on Monday morning as we enter the next decision-making process. Now, if I make the cut, I am going to be invited to go to a 6 to 8 week school. As I understand it, they will set up an arrangement with a community college, or maybe UAB, University of Alabama, Birmingham, and they will have a classroom, and they will have a team of people from Goldman Sachs, and they will come in and work with what they call their cohort of probably 7 to 10 small business owners, and help us over 8 weeks understand how you grow a business. I'm exactly where Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates were when they said, I need help. I need help to take the next step. I need capital. I need knowledge. I need contacts. I need someone who believes that they can come and be a part of Best of Us investors, and we can take it to where Kerry's dream exists. That's where I'm at, okay? Why am I sharing this with you? Because I want you to get there too. I want you to dream. I want you to have no bars in front of you. You can achieve anything you want to achieve if you'll first get rid of that goddamn roommate in your head that tells you you can't. I wrote a whole book on it. Who are you? Why are you you? And you get rid of that roommate, and then you say, but I can. And I can seek the help. And why did I find that on LinkedIn? Why did it come at that time when I needed it? When I was ready to take the next step? Why did it appear there? Because I was open to it. I mean, if you saw the same ad, if you didn't have the right mindset, you'd look right past it. And then when they put this 10-page application in front of you and you had to download all kinds of documents for them, you'd quit. You'd say, I don't know how to do that. And you'd quit. And that's why I made the cut. I will not quit. And I have a dream. That dream is to bring you the knowledge that the hedge fund manager has. Now, I'm not going to ask you to leverage up like they do, but I'm going to want to give you the knowledge to know who is the company that's going to solve the heat problem on Jensen's Blackwell B200, The Verge. Who's going to solve that problem? Because it's a problem. Somebody's got to solve it. And there is a company, and I think I know who they are because I've searched their patents, and I think I know who they are. But I want to make that available to you. And I want to make it available to 1 million people. Now, what does that mean? That means that I'm going to have 1 million people paying me something in the neighborhood of $50 a month, as opposed to them going and buying their own AI factory for $50,000 and then the second one for another $50,000. No, I want it available to you for $600 a year, $720 a year, something you can afford so that you can find out who is the company that is selling for $4 a share today that will be selling for $400 a share by this time next year. Who is that company? Is that possible? Go look at the performance of NVIDIA, of Supermacro, when they were back there selling for $40 and are now selling for $900. Go look at it. They had consistent returns of over 100% year after year once they broke through. That's what I'm looking for. And how am I going to get it? I'm going to have all the information in the world about investing, about individual stocks, and I'm going to have a mind called Samantha that is powered by an NVIDIA Blackwell B200, The Verge, that can digest everything that I need to know about that company in a matter of seconds and then spit it back into Samantha's mouth, and then Samantha will put it in my ear and I'll ask her questions, and then what will come next is the implementation. The implementation that will actually then take what Samantha and I decide we want to do with that stock, and then do the analysis of where it is, where the momentum is, where it's going to pull back to, and initiate the order. That's where we're going. That's my dream. I can't do it by myself. I know that. So I'm hoping that Goldman Sachs and their 10,000 small businesses will help me get there. Now, again, why am I sharing this with you? One, I want you to be one of the 1 million who share in the benefit of what I'm building, and hopefully Goldman Sachs helps me. I'll probably use this video and send it to Goldman Sachs and say, this is what I'm trying to do. So watch it. It's about a 20-minute, 18-minute video. Understand it, and let's work together. Can you imagine? They managed $2 trillion of assets. They got the money. They aren't managing your assets. Maybe they want an avenue, a path to you, and maybe I can provide it. That's my dream. What's your dream? What can I help you achieve? If it's the $1 billion IRA that I've been talking about earlier this week, or if it's to inspire you to think outside the box, to connect the dots and say, my God, I think I know what's going to happen next. And here's how I can take advantage of it. I want you to think of yourself as Mark Zuckerberg, as Larry Page, as Sergey Brin, as Bill Gates, as Steve Allen. If they can do it, why can't you? Did God give them something that you didn't get? Or is it that you just haven't tapped in to your God-given ability up until now? And it probably has something to do with something that happened to you in the first 14 years of your life. I wrote a book on that too. It's called Tall Grass. I went back and I examined the first 14 years of my life and determined, why am I the way I am? And how can I overcome that? How can I get rid of that unwanted roommate in my head that says, you can't do that. She won't go out with you. I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor. I'm about to turn 80 years old, September 5th of this year. And I want to help you achieve your dream, whatever it is. Talk to you again tomorrow.